Welcome back as we continue our discussion of web browsers, choosing and using the best web browser for the task. I had mentioned before that there are several web browsers to choose from. Most people stick with the one that came pre-installed on their computer, but there are many good reasons for uploading some of the other browsers that are all available for free. For example, to be honest, some websites are actually designed to work better or more effectively on one web browser over another. Sometimes you'll even see a little sign that says, this website is best viewed with Internet Explorer, or something else, right there on the website. Other times they don't tell you, but you may notice a difference if you start toggling between the two and discover that one works better. So, if you look at my computer screen here, you'll notice that I actually have all 4 web browsers installed. I have Internet Explorer installed on this computer. Of course, it came with the computer. I have Safari installed on this computer. That's the one that comes by default with an Apple computer. I have Chrome, the browser made by the Google company. And I have Firefox. So if I ever have any problems on the internet with one, I'm just one click away from getting another. So now we're going to look at each individual browser and see how we're going to work it. There are certain things that we're always going to want to be able to do, namely to set our home page and to bookmark certain pages so that we can find them easily the next time around. We'll start with Internet Explorer, the world's most popular browser, otherwise known as the Big Blue E. I have it opened here to Internet Explorer now, and the two things that we want to be able to do is to set our home page and also to bookmark certain pages. Now, all of the settings for Internet Explorer are located up here in this corner. Kind of makes me crazy that they don't tell you things in actual English, but instead there's a little picture. There's a little picture of a house, which sends you back to your home page. There's a little picture of a star, which we're going to talk about to set your favorites or starred items. But right now I'm going to click on this third little picture. It's a picture of a gear or a little mechanism, and all of the settings are under that. So if I click on it, you'll see some options here. Options to print the screen that I'm on, options to save different screens as a document. I can zoom in or out to make this page larger or smaller. There are all sorts of things that you will probably never ever need, but I'm going to come down to Internet Options. Right here on our first screen, they talk about setting your home page. Now, depending what page I would like that to be, I can either type it right in here or tell them to use the current page. So I'm just going to close this window for a moment and go to a different page. Let's say, for example, here on Long Island, I wanted every day to be able to open to Newsday. This way I can see what the weather is going to be like, the traffic, the news, etc. So I can simply go to the Newsday page. I see it's 67 degrees. There's my weather and all. And now I'll go back to that little gear, Internet Options. And I'm going to tell it, use the current page, Newsday, as my home page. And I hit OK. Now, even if I went someplace else, for example, I'm just going to head over to Yahoo. Even if I was someplace else and I wanted to get back to that home page, I can just click on Home. So that's what 2 of these little icons mean. Now, the little star is if I want to star a page. In other words, I want to save it so I can easily come back to it in the future. Maybe it's not necessarily important enough to be my home page, but it is a page that I would like to visit later on. If I click on the star, you'll see that it's going to open up all sorts of favorites, they call them. So whatever page I'm on, whether this Newsday page or the Yahoo page, or maybe I want to look at what movies are coming up, I can simply star that page and access it later. Add to favorites. And there it is. So from now on, I don't have to remember the title of that page. I can just look in my favorites. Now, all the browsers we're going to look at today all have those options: setting the home page and bookmarking or starring certain pages for your favorites. Also, when you install a new browser, you will be asked if you would like to import your settings from one to another. That's a very nice feature. So if you've set up all of these different starred items in one, when you install another, they all come with you and you don't have to do it again. That's Internet Explorer. The next one we're going to look at is Safari. Safari is the browser that comes with an Apple computer, but you can add it to any computer. And I have it right here. So I'll click on it. Safari is a little bit different than Internet Explorer with some things, but one thing is the same. There's a little gear up here in the top right corner. And again, you're going to see lots of the same choices, but instead of being called Internet Options, now they are called Preferences. Similar, but not exactly the same. And they're going to ask you a bunch of different questions, but namely the ones we want to be concerned with is what your home page is. Now, it's currently set to the Apple page. Let me close this, and I'll go to that Yahoo page this time. Now when I click on the gear for preferences, I can say set to the current page. It will no longer be the Apple page, now it will be the Yahoo page. So this way I don't have to see something I don't want to see every time. Now, when it comes to favorites and stuff on Apple, we have lots of different options. For one thing, we can add a site here with the plus sign, and we can add it to our top sites, our bookmarks, our reading list, things we might want to read later. So this was a little different than on our last browser. Last time we had a star in this area. Here we go. We have a gear and a star on an Internet Explorer. Going back to Safari, we have that gear, but now we have a plus sign. The plus sign adds this particular page to our favorites. Similar, but certainly if you've never used Safari before, you may be hunting around for that kind of a thing. Now, our next browser is Chrome. One of the nice things about Chrome, and I'll put it up here, is that you don't necessarily need to know the name of the website you're looking for. You have one big bar up here, and whatever you type in, they'll find it. Before I had to type in yahoo.com. Now I could just type in Yahoo, and it will fill in the rest for me. They guessed what I wanted. Now on Chrome, look over here. We have the star. We know what the star means, adding it to our favorites, but we don't have the little gear. Instead, for some reason, they used these three little lines. Now, I must admit, when I first installed Chrome, it took me a long time to figure out what on earth those three little lines meant. But if you click on them, it opens the same type of thing as you've had before. In this case, the wording is settings. So far, our companies may call these things Internet Options, Preferences, or Settings. And in all three cases, they hide them under some innocuous little symbol in the upper right-hand corner. It just goes to show that if you click on enough things, you'll find some good stuff. Here you'll see many things like we've seen before, including how to set our home page. And again, just like before, we have the little star. Whoops. And the little star is what will set us to whatever we want to bookmark or star to come back. So the things we're looking at here is we have a little star, and we have 3 little lines. Google Chrome has been taking over as a really big player nowadays, so it'd be good for you to be able to figure out where all those things are. And then finally, our last browser, saving for last the ones that decided they'd put everything on the opposite side of the screen, is Firefox. I'll click on it down here. Now in Firefox, you'll notice you have a little picture of a house. You do have a little picture of a star. That's all good. We know what stars and houses mean now. House means home page. Star means favorite. We don't have a little picture of a gear or any other things over here. With Firefox, we go to the word Firefox, and that opens up our options. Clear on the other side of the screen from where we expected it. Over here, we have the word Options, and we're going to get all sorts of different things like setting our home page, etc. So as you can see, the 4 browsers have a lot in common, but sometimes you look to your top right and sometimes you look to your top left. Not too horrible, but certainly something to get used to. I do hope that you're going to take the challenge and go and download at least one other browser to your computer just so you have something to work with. As I mentioned, 90% of the people who call me with a problem, just switching the browser solves most of it. One other question I'm asked a lot by our viewers is how come they might have set their home page and suddenly their home page disappears? They come to their computer one day and their home page is not what they expected it to be. Well, the reason that that happens is you may not realize it, but if you're surfing around, downloading things like movies, music, even documents or attachments to emails, once in a while, whatever you're downloading will have another piece of software tag along with it. They do that, of course, because there's some money in it for them to be able to do that. So if you were, for example, printing greeting cards on your computer, the greeting card company that helps you to print things out will actually ask you, of course in such a way that you didn't realize you were asked, if they could change your home page. And you can bet that they're going to change your home page to the greeting card page. So all of a sudden one day you turn on your computer and you don't know why, but you have a totally different home page than you've ever had. You've always had Newsday, or you've had your email, or whatever you've usually used, and suddenly it's gone. That's the reason. When you were clicking, yes, yes, I agree, one of those things you agreed to was changing your home page. Fortunately, you know now how on any of these browsers to go and find the little gear or the little preferences and change it yourself. You might also want to be a little more aware next time you're clicking to agree with a million things. Although I firmly admit that I've agreed to many things on the web without reading. Even the agreement for iTunes is over 72 pages long. Nobody has read that. So it happens. So if it should happen that you come to your computer and your home page is set to something new, not a problem. Just switch it off. If you'd like to see links to all of these different browsers, or a little chart to find all of those internet options, just visit us on the web at technicallyspeakingtv.com. Enjoy.